Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we're talking about boobs. Yes. So in my last sit down video I was nursing the little one, and I had a few expecting moms DM me on Instagram just with a few questions about breastfeeding, and so I decided that I'd make an entire video about it. So yeah, let's talk boobs, y'all. I do want to just start off by saying that I am not a health professional. Everything that I'm talking about has worked for me with my 4-month-old. So, if you do have, any more questions, then I do suggest that you approach your doctor or your nurse. If you are struggling with nursing, then I do suggest that you find yourself a lactation consultant in your area, just to make sure that they go through everything with you and help you wherever you're specifically having problems. Another thing is that fed is best. Okay, as long as your baby is fed, then that is the best thing. Whether you're bottle feeding or you're breastfeeding or you're mixing it both up, whatever works for you and your baby is what's most important. This video is in no way meant to make anyone feel bad if they can't breastfeed or if they choose not to. Just this is just to give you guys information about my specific breastfeeding journey, and also to give you guys some tips and tricks that have worked for me. Okay, so if you do enjoy the video, then please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for new videos every Wednesday and Sunday. And yeah, let's get into it. So I did write down my notes on my phone, so if you see me looking down, then just know that I'm just going through everything that I wrote down. I wanted it to be as concise as possible. So one thing is that growing up, I really thought that breastfeeding was like the easiest part of being a mom. Like, my aunts, my cousins, everyone would just pop out a boob. They had a baby, they pop out a boob, that's it. I just thought it was just natural and instinctive, like everyone just did it. But when I was preparing to give birth and everything, and when I was pregnant, I did do some research, and I found out that it's actually not that easy. And even with experience, I can tell you that breastfeeding is not it's not as easy as our families made it seem, So right now my little one is exclusively breastfed, so that's where I'm drawing all my information from. Starting off, my first tip is to attend your baby classes. Whatever classes are on offer at your nearest clinic, at the hospital, ask your gynae if they know about any baby classes that are on offer, because oh my god, the information that you get from the nurses or whoever's presenting is so crucial, and it really helped inform my journey and kind of told me what to expect. And they gave me, I learned so much from the class itself. So I definitely advise you to attend a baby class. And from that baby class, I learned that how your baby latches to your breast is so important, because actually that's where it can go completely wrong. If your baby latches the wrong way, then it just makes your boobs so sore when you're feeding. So in my baby class, they went through the process of getting a good latch, like just extensively. So you have to take the nipple, rub it on the baby's nose or cheek, just to get the baby to open their mouth. And then as soon as they open their mouth, you shove your boob and they just I know it sounds a lot, but then you actually do. You have to just shove the boob in there. And it, I remember listening to the lady and I'm just thinking, I'm shoving what in the what? That doesn't make sense. But luckily for me, as soon as I got my little girl, she lashed on immediately properly, and I was like, thank God, because I don't know what I was going to be doing. The little miss is awake. Hi, baby. Hi. Yeah. Then there are also different ways that you can hold your baby when you're nursing. It's not just the cradle position, which is the one that you'll normally see women do. So the hold that works best for me and the little one is the normal cradle hold. This is the one that works best for us when she does want to feed. Right now she does not want to feed, so she's just like, why? But that's the cradle hold. There's also the reverse cradle, and that's when you actually grab from the opposite hand, grab her head in your hand, and then this helps with getting the boob into the mouth. Oh, sorry, my angel. Sorry. She does not like being a prop. And then we also have the rugby hold, and so this is just from the back. You just hold this way, and this one also helps you get the boob into the mouth easily. So those ones are very good for if you're struggling with your latch, to just make sure that you can stick. As I said, you plunging the boob into the mouth. So those are the ones that are best for that. But we have stuck to the cradle hold. Yeah, and that's worked best for us. So another thing is that breastfeeding can be painful. The degrees of pain will differ. Sometimes it's just painful because like your nipples have never been sucked on for that long. Oh. sorry, I digress. But just no one has ever just sat and sucked on your nipple for like 30 minutes. Okay, so that in itself can be painful, and obviously if your latch is wrong, then that can also be painful. So for me, the one thing that made it really painful was at the beginning, my little girl was nursing for about 60 minutes at a time, and she would nurse for 60 minutes, hour break, nurse for 60 minutes, hour break. Like my nipples were sore. Okay, and then at that point, that's when I started using my nipple cream. I used this one. I didn't use it that much. As I said, it was just a few days, and right in the beginning that I used this, and since then I've been we've been okay. My nipples are used to it. And then along with nipple pain, your milk ducts can get inflamed, and they can even get infected. So when my milk ducts have been infected, you have to go to the doctor. You have to get antibiotics. There's absolutely nothing you can do because it's an infection. The milk duct infections are called mastitis, and I've had it 3 times. I know, like, just the trauma, because like I'd get the chills, and literally my boob is so sore, like it's sore to the touch. And then they advise you to keep nursing on that boob even if it's infected, because if you stop nursing on it, then the milk will just accumulate, and that will just make the infection worse. So you want to make sure that you're still breastfeeding, but don't worry, the infection doesn't like transfer to the baby at all or anything like that. So now, like, my boob is sore to the touch, and then this person comes, like, stop. I hate, oh my god. So that's traumatic. That's the most traumatic thing that has happened to me during breastfeeding. So as I said, mastitis, if you do have an infection, then you do have to go to the doctor, consult, get antibiotics. But if you're just inflamed, so if it's just sore, you don't have the chills or anything like that, and if the baby feeds and then it feels better, then then you're okay. But for inflammation, I've used this reusable hot and cold pack from Clicks. If you want a cold pack, you keep it in the freezer. If you want it warm, you just microwave it for a bit, and then I just put it over my boob, like, it's so nice. So this is definitely, I think, crucial for inflammation. Another thing that they will cover in your birth class is the importance of a good milk supply. Because you can have a good latch and hold the baby nicely, but then you need to make sure that there's enough milk coming out. Okay, so unfortunately, milk supply isn't always a guarantee. Sometimes your body just doesn't produce enough, and that can lead to its own issues. There are things that you can do to make sure that you can increase your milk supply. Number one is to make sure that you are taking enough fluids. You should be drinking water. Water is best, obviously, but I mean, if you're gonna have some tea or whatever, then that's also good. Just make sure that you're keeping your fluids up, because the more fluids you have, then the more fluids your body has to work with in order to to produce milk. And speaking of teas, I used to use the Carmine nursing tea. I still have some. I've bought quite a few, and once in a while I'll just brew myself a little cup, and it has fenugreek, it has fennel seeds, like all of those ingredients that are very good to help your body produce more milk. I did use those in the beginning to make sure that I can increase my milk supply. Then you also want to make sure that you're taking in enough food. Feeling hungry, you understand? Because you want to make sure that you have enough calories. Your body has enough calories to actually do the job of producing milk. Okay, so if you give birth and then you're just like, I'm on diet, that's not gonna work, because then your body's just taking all the food that you're ingesting. Your body's actually then just using it to survive. Okay, leaving nothing for your boobs. So you want to make sure that you're eating enough so that your body has the energy and has the fuel to actually produce more milk. And another trick that I learned is that pumping can actually help a lot with increasing your milk supply, and this has to do with supply and demand. If your boobs basically produce enough milk that they believe there's a demand for. Okay, so if your baby's feeding, then your boobs are basically then producing enough milk for your baby. But if you want to increase that milk supply, then you can also try pumping. And what pumping will do is that then there's an extra, then it's increasing the demand on your boobs, and so the boobs have to then reciprocate by supplying more milk. Okay, makes sense. Because I wasn't actually planning on bottle feeding for a bit, I was just going to get a manual breast pump. But then we bought everything on Black Friday, so this was on sale. So my husband was like, why don't you just get it? So I do believe that some sort of breast pump can be helpful. As I said, manual can work as well as an electric can work. Since I wasn't bottle feeding, I did try and freeze my milk. I was freezing my milk using the Tummy Tippy bags, but then I ran out and I couldn't find them at the store. I'd have to like order through Takealot again. So I just bought these Dr. Brown's ones, and they're okay, but I do prefer the Tummy Tippy. The Tummy Tippy slightly has lots more volume, and this one goes up to 180 mils, but usually when I pump I get about 200 mils, so this is kind of too small for the amount that I pump. So some sort of milk storage bag, and I would honestly buy proper milk storage bags, so not like a Ziploc bag or anything, but just proper milk storage bag, so that you can keep the milk safely in the freezer, and get it and just save it for whenever you're going to use it. My little one still isn't bottle feeding at the moment, so I did decide to donate most of my stash to the milk bank at Femina in Pretoria. So I will link below the South African Milk Bank Reserve people, so that you can contact them if you do also want to donate your milk. Another important thing about breastfeeding is to watch what you ingest, and I say ingest instead of just eat, because I'm talking about food and medication. Just like pregnancy, pregnancy, they're like you can't eat certain types of fish, you can't drink alcohol, all of that, and you have to be mindful of how much caffeine you're taking on a daily basis. All of that is still true when you are breastfeeding, because remember that your body is still providing all the nutrition for your baby. So whatever you eat, generally the baby also kind of it seeps into the milk, and then your baby will eat it. So it's not only important that you're eating well, but it's also important that you make sure that you aren't there's still some fish that you can't have. You still be very careful with your alcohol, you still be very careful with your caffeine, all of those. And another thing is, when it comes to medication, if you ever do need to go to the doctor for whatever reason, make sure that you tell them that you're breastfeeding, because most medications will seep through into the milk, and then that's not good. So I remember I did have the flu, and yes, just the flu. Okay, not Corona, just the flu. I did get the flu at some point, and some of the things that I have in my cupboard I can't take, so I had to go back to the doctor and be like, help me. Then other important products that have helped me during my journey has been breast pads. Currently I have these disposable breast pads. This is the Clicks brand, and they really good. Like, listen, leakage is a thing, okay? Sometimes my baby will cry, and then my boobs are like, what's happening? Why is our little human crying? Give her milk, give her milk. And I'm just like, she's not here, and then the milk is like, so okay, so breast pads are very important. Even just sometimes I remember at the beginning I wasn't wearing my breast pads consistently, and I just be chilling, and then it's just like literally the wet stain, which is like over my shirt, and I'm like, what is that? Oh my god. So breast pads are like crucial for me. Another important nursing essential for me, I feel, is some sort of support. Can be a nursing pillow, can be a regular pillow. So I just want to show you quickly the difference, and I hope I don't disturb this little one with her toy. But when you're nursing, remember that you're going to be doing it for a long time. So if you're nursing without support, what ends up happening is that you're now hunched over the baby for a long time, and that can be very, very painful on your upper back. So that's why you need some sort of support, such as I said, nursing pillow, regular pillow, whatever you can find, so that it keeps your baby high enough that your back stays straight and you don't have any back problems or back issues from nursing. Yeah, see? So just like that. So another important thing is nursing bras. Now, Conventional nursing bras and maternity bras are in the same WhatsApp group because Jesus, they're expensive for no reason. I'm using these Pick and Pay clothing bras. These are just regular bras. I just like them because most of my old bras all have padding, and padding is kind of difficult because you can imagine now if it's really thick, you know, to get it under the boob is kind of difficult. So it's better when you have, you know, bras like this that you can basically just get under with no problem. Then there's also nursing tops that you can buy that kind of like, you know, peek through, they do the cute thing where it's like, it's a flap and then it peeks through and then your boob. Yeah, I don't have any of those. I just use my vests that I also bought at Pick and Pay Clothing. These vests, as I said, are good for just, you know, opening and then baby gets the boob. An important piece of advice for me is to not clock watch. I remember at the beginning all the research said your baby needs to nurse for 20 minutes on each side, and that's when you know that the baby's full. That is not true. You know, babies are all different. Just make sure that your baby, you want to make sure that, you know, you've emptied your boob, and your baby is also, besides emptying the boob, your baby's full. Like when baby's full, they'll just be like, okay, like I'm good, you know. But if they're still searching, then you want to make sure that you still are feeding for however long. For me, Nola will just nurse for 10 minutes and then she's like, I'm good. You know, you keep your boob. I also have never had the need to like empty one boob and then the other. That hasn't worked for me. Right now she'll nurse on one side and then next time she'll nurse on the other side. And so just make sure that, as I said, find your rhythm with your baby. You wanna see what will work for both of you. Another important tip for me is to make sure that you're not comparing yourself to other moms. You know, what bottle feeding moms do and what breastfeeding moms do will be different. What formula feeding moms do and what, you know, just exclusively breastfeeding moms do will be completely different. So, you know, you can always take pointers from what everyone is doing, but make sure that you're finding what works for you and your little one. So breastfeeding can be a very beautiful experience, but it definitely isn't easy. I do feel that I hit the jackpot a little bit in that, you know, Nola never struggled with her latch, and I did find that all the tips that I did in the beginning to boost my milk supply definitely helped me throughout, and you know, I still have a very good milk supply now. If you are having any problems, then I do suggest that you seek professional help. One of the best places to ask is, you know, the nurse or doctor that you go to for your immunization checks, because, you know, I mean, you're going so often that they can be a really good source of advice and, you know, more tips and more tricks that can help you through your journey. And another thing is to always write your questions before you get there. For me, I always keep a note on my phone with all the questions as they come up, so that I can discuss them with the nurse next time when I see them. So that is something that I do think that you guys should also do. And if you do have any other tips or tricks, then please let us know in the comment section below. And remember that I'm uploading every Wednesday and Sunday, so make sure that you come back on Sunday for a new video. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.